Let's move on for the moment to the other big story we're tracking right now. An Army Aviation ALH WSI taking off from Likhabali in the morning, crashing at Migging in Arunachal Pradesh. The chopper crashed near Tooting. Ratnadeep is joining us with the latest on the search operations that are taking place right now. The chopper that you see on your screens now, the search and rescue chopper that has been deputed to the area, which is very remote and can't be accessed by road. Ratnadeep, what's the latest?
That's right. This is a very unfortunate incident which has taken place this morning between 10:40 to 10:45 a.m. when this advanced light helicopter of Indian Army's Aviation Corps, it took off from Likhabali in Assam, which is a very important base for the Indian Army. Likhabali is in the plains of Assam, and it is from here that in different parts of Arunachal Pradesh supplies are sent by the advanced light helicopters like and the cheetah helicopters as well. So this morning after 10:30 a.m. This chopper which was on a sortie towards the frontier area, it actually lost control, lost communication with the control tower after 10:30, and between 10:40 to 10:45 this crash took place. The locals in Tooting circle of Upper Siang district of Arunachal Pradesh reported that they saw fumes coming out of jungle area from an area which is 25 kilometers south of Tooting. Now, Tooting is the last administrative headquarter in Upper Siang district that India has, and then you have villages dotted around the Siang river, which flows into India from China through Tooting, and it actually flows into Assam, where it becomes the Brahmaputra. So in Tooting area, 25 kilometers from Tooting, there is a village which is called Migging. Now near that village there is another village adjacent which is called Siang. So somewhere in between these two villages, these fumes were seen. Those visuals that we are playing out, those were captured by the locals. So the locals, with along with the district authorities and army teams, have sent in teams to they will have to walk on their foot, so it will take some hours to reach there, and therefore now Indian Army is being helped by Indian Air Force. There have been 3 separate search parties, 3 separate choppers have been deployed there, 1 Mi-17 helicopter of the Indian Army and 2 Dhruv helicopters of the rather 1 Mi-17 helicopter of the Indian Air Force and 2 Dhruv helicopters of the Indian Army. So they have pressed in 3 different teams who are in that area. They're trying to trying to find out where the wreckage is, and if possible also drop the rescuers there, because this is a very rough terrain where this incident has taken place. Remember, this is the second incident in Arunachal Pradesh this month where an advanced light helicopter of the Indian Army has crashed. A fortnight back, another similar incident took place where a cheetah helicopter of the Indian Army's Army Aviation Corps, it crashed, and in that 1 pilot had died and another pilot suffered very serious injuries. Now Army has not given out details in terms of total number of people and the crew who are on board in this helicopter. This detail has not been given as yet. And what kind of operation, what kind of sortie was it? Was it an air maintenance sortie where they regularly take essential supplies to these forward post areas and drop them, and these advanced light helicopters are being used very frequently for these operations, and whether it was a routine sortie or a special sortie, at times they also go to evacuate army people who are unwell in the forward areas to the nearest hospital. Those operations also take place. So what kind of operation this was has not been clearly stated by the army. In fact, we are waiting for a confirmation on that. We are also waiting for a confirmation in terms of souls on board this Army advanced light helicopter, which has crashed 25 kilometers south of Tooting, the last administrative circle in Upper Siang district of Arunachal Pradesh, not very far from the line of actual control with China.
Ratnadeep, of course, the location of this place also really crucial to proceedings. Thanks so much for joining us, and we will come back to you for updates.
An army helicopter has crashed in Arunachal Pradesh's Upper Siang district. According to reports, the advanced light helicopter crashed near Chining village. The site of the crash is not connected by any motorable road, but a rescue team has been sent to the location. According to sources, this is the second helicopter crash in Arunachal Pradesh. In October, earlier this month, a pilot had lost his life and others were injured. Joining me right now is Ratnadeep. Ratnadeep, extremely difficult terrain there. What is the latest we know?
That's right. The terrain is extremely difficult in that area. If I can, give a account of the kind of terrain that is there. From the nearest road head, it would take about 2 hours for the local villagers who are otherwise, accustomed with that terrain to reach the possible accident site. Now, what we know till now is that Army ALH helicopter of the Army Aviation Corps, it actually took off from Likabali in Assam, which is in the plains of Assam, and it is an important Indian Army base because it is from Likabali that man and machine movement are monitored by Indian Army, particularly in the Arunachal frontier. So this was a sortie, and this sortie took off, and after 10:30 a.m. it lost communication with the ground control, and between 10:40 to 10:45 it has crashed 25 kilometers south of Tooting. Now, Tooting is the last administrative circle of the Upper Siang district of Arunachal Pradesh. Now, beyond Tooting, you have several villages that dot the area in very extreme remote terrain where there is lack of road connectivity, mobile network is very patchy, and beyond that you have the actual line of control with China. Now, the locals did see from a hillock in a jungle, there were fumes coming out, and that is presumed to be the area where the crash has taken place. The district authorities, the Indian Army, personals at Tooting as well as locals had set out right after the incident took place on foot towards that area, and as I pointed out, it will take several hours to reach by foot. And therefore, Indian Air Force has also now joined the search and rescue operation with the Indian Army. 3 choppers, 1 Mi-17 chopper of Indian Air Force and 2 Dhruv helicopters are being used, and they are hovering around that area trying to identify if there is a wreckage, and then if the wreckage is identified, then the next attempt would be to airdrop the rescuers to look for survivors. How many souls were on board? That figure has not been given out by the Indian Army as of now, or what kind of sortie it was is also not being told to media as of now. But in that area, these advanced light helicopters are used for regular sorties because you have those forward posts of the Indian Army which are air maintained. That means all the essential supplies and ration actually are airdropped by this advanced light helicopter, and also emergency evacuations are done by this helicopters. And what is significant here is that within a fortnight, this is the second crash of a advanced light helicopter of the Indian Army's Aviation Corps. About 15 days back, in Tawang sector, another Cheetah helicopter crashed where the pilot died, the co-pilot sustained very serious injuries. So this is a second incident, and therefore a reason of worry for the Indian Army. As of now, we don't know what kind of sortie it was or how many people were there. The rescue teams are on way, and in some time we might get more clarity from Indian Army. That's what we are waiting for.
Right. Well, of course, crucial information still to emerge from this accident site.
Breaking news just coming in from Arunachal Pradesh, where an army helicopter had crashed in the Upper Siang district. What we're being told at the moment, 5 people were on board the chopper. 2 rescue parties have reached the crash site, which is in a rough terrain, as Ratnadeep Chaudhary had mentioned. What our army sources are telling us at the moment is 2 dead bodies have been recovered from the crash site so far. Remember, the advanced light helicopter had crashed near Migging village. The site of the crash is not connected by any road, but 2 rescue teams have reached the location at the moment. This is the latest information we can share with you. For further details, let's go across to Ratnadeep, who joins us on the phone line. Ratnadeep, what further details can you share with us at the moment?
That's right. The breaking news at this hour is that those visuals that we are playing out on our screens, these are the visuals from one of the rescue teams who have been able to reach the wreckage. You can see there the wreckage is still burning. You have the wreckage spread over a large area inside a dense jungle where one of the rescue teams has reached. In fact, Army sources have confirmed us that the 3 rescue teams were sent out in 3 different helicopters, and 2 of those rescue teams, after they were able to locate the wreckage site, they were able to airdrop and then track in that jungle and find the wreckage. In fact, Army sources have also confirmed us that 2 dead bodies have been found in that wreckage. Now, Army, for the first time ever since this incident had taken place, this crash had taken place at around 10:45 for the first time, Army sources has given us an idea about the people who were on board. So what we are hearing from Army sources is that there were 5 people on board in that helicopter, in that advanced flight helicopter, which took off after 10 o'clock from Likhavali in Assam for forward areas, and after 10:30 it actually lost communication with the ground control, and between 10:40 to 10:45 it crashed. The locals in Migging village, which is about 25 kilometers south of Siang, which is the last administrative circle of India near the line of actual control with China. It is in Upper Siang district of Arunachal Pradesh. So the locals first reported that they saw these fumes emerging out of the dense jungle there. It's a very remote area. From the nearest motorhead, the distance of the place where the incident had taken place is a more than 2 hours of tracking, and therefore, while the district administration, the local army unit there, and the local people, villagers set out on foot to reach the place from where they were coming out of the jungle. Indian Air Force joined the rescue operation with the Indian Army. Indian Air Force Mi-17 helicopter was used along with Army's group helicopters. 3 teams were dispatched and 2 teams were able to locate the wreckage. They were airdropped. They tracked down the hill to the place where the wreckage is, and the rescue operation is still on. But we can confirm that 5 people were on board. Unfortunately, 2 of them have not survived. Their bodies have been recovered. We are yet to hear from Indian Army about the fate of the 3 other people who were on board. We are yet to hear from Indian Army in terms of who were these people, their ranks, whether all of them were Army personnel or not. There would be the flying crew. Now, who are the people whose dead body has been found is yet to be ascertained, but the wreckage has been found in the jungle 25 kilometers south of Migging, which is not very far from the actual line of control with China in Arunachal Pradesh, Siang district, Upper Siang district.
Ratnadeep, as always, thank you so much for joining us with the latest information. As my colleague Ratnadeep just highlighted, the crash chopper's wreckage has been recovered. We are being told via Army sources that 5 people were on board the chopper. 2 rescue parties have reached the crash site, but unfortunately, 2 dead bodies have been recovered so far.
Hello there, you're with NDTV. I'm Maha Siddiqui. The top story that we're tracking at the moment, an army helicopter has crashed in Arunachal Pradesh, Upper Siang district. According to reports, the advanced light helicopter crashed near the Migging village. The site of the crash is not connected by any road, but a rescue team has been sent to the location. That's as per sources. This is the 2nd helicopter crash in Arunachal Pradesh in October. Earlier this month, a pilot lost his life and several others were injured after a cheetah helicopter crashed near Tawang. As there are no motorable roads leading to the village except a hanging bridge, 2 helicopters were sent to the crash site for rescue operations. Local villagers are also said to be involved in the operations. Now, this is what the Union Minister of Law Kiran Rijiju said some time back, saying received very disturbing news about Indian Army's advanced light helicopter crash in Upper Siang district in Arunachal Pradesh. My deepest prayers. Let me go across to Ratnadeep for more details on this. Ratnadeep, have we received any further information as we know that 2 helicopters had gone for rescue to this particular spot?
Yeah, in fact, two teams of the rescuers who were sent out to first recce for the wreckage were able to spot the wreckage, and then they have been able to reach this remote site where this crash has taken place 25 kilometers south of Tooting, which is the last administrative circle in the Upper Siang district of Arunachal Pradesh, not very far from the actual line of control with China, the border with China. In fact, this incident, the place where it took place is very remote, and therefore after the incident took place around 10:45 a.m. this morning, and it was first reported by the local villagers in that area near Migging village, where the locals actually saw this fumes coming out of the jungles, and then they reported to the district headquarters. The local army unit in the area in Tooting, the district authorities as well as the local villagers were the first responders. They set out on foot, but from the nearest road head it takes about 2 hours or more, in fact, to track inside that jungle, and then time is required to also do the recce to find out the wreckage, and therefore Indian Air Force also took help of the Indian Army. Mi-17 helicopters were pressed into service, 2 Dhruv helicopters were pressed into service, and 3 teams were rushed. They recce'd the area, they found the wreckage, 2 of the teams reached, and what we can confirm to our viewers is that the wreckage has been found. It's spread over the area, as you can see in those visuals that we are playing out. These visuals have again come out from the rescue teams, from the rescuers. You can see the rescuers reaching the site. It's a very remote location, and you can see the flames still burning. And unfortunately, what Indian Army sources are telling us is that 2 dead bodies have been recovered. In all, there were 5 people who were on board in this advanced light helicopter of the Indian Army. It took off from Likkhabali, which is in Assam. It is a very important location as far as movement of man and machine to the frontier area is concerned. And from Likkhabali, this sortie took off for a forward area destination. Indian Army has not given details about what kind of sortie it was, but in this area, the advanced light helicopters are used very often, in fact almost on a daily basis, in terms of reaching out to the forward areas, the forward post of the Indian Army along the China border, where only this advanced light helicopters can reach with essential supplies, as well as in emergency evacuation operations as well. But what kind of sortie it was, that detail has not been given out. Who are these 5 people who were on board? That details has not been given out by Indian Army. We are still awaiting who were the people on board, but what we can confirm is that there were 5 people. 2 of them, unfortunately, their dead bodies have been found, and search is going on to look for survivors among the rest 3. So whereabout of the other 3 people who are said to be on board in this helicopter is yet to be found out, or details about them is still awaited, but we can confirm that the wreckage has been found along with 2 dead bodies.
Ratnadeep, also preliminary probe into this matter, what does it suggest as the cause of the crash?
Well, at this moment, the focus for Indian Army and the Indian Air Force, as well as the civil authorities who are helping them, is in terms of search and rescue operation. The probes will start and will get to know what is the reason. But this crash is very significant. Remember, this is the second crash within a fortnight, within this month. This is the second crash of the same type of advanced light helicopter. Previously, in the Tawang sector of Arunachal Pradesh, a cheetah helicopter crashed, in which the pilot actually lost his life, and the co-pilot was critically injured, and now this incident has taken place. So this would be a reason of concern for the armed forces, because these advanced light helicopters are kind of a lifeline from the bases to the forward areas. These are the only means by which you can reach to your forward areas with essential supplies, as well as in an early in an emergency evacuation operation. And within a month, two accidents is something that is a reason of concern. Also, given the fact that these are areas again where in Arunachal Pradesh it has a history of chopper crashes, both civilian as well as military choppers, and it is a difficult terrain to fly. But both the Indian Air Force and Indian Army choppers which operate in these areas, the pilots are trained, and there are special trainings given in terms of the valley flying, because the weather keeps on changing, and also there are also communication bottlenecks at times. So there are a lot of factors which are involved in flying in such rough terrains, particularly in Arunachal Pradesh, which has history of chopper crashes. And today, unfortunately, another chopper has crashed, and as of now, 2 dead bodies have been recovered from there.
Even as rescue efforts continue, Ratndeep, help us understand this location where this crash has occurred.
Well, this location where this crash has occurred is very remote. If we can actually play out a map graphics which we were playing, now this is 25 kilometers south of Tooting, which is the last administrative circle in the upper Siang district of Arunachal Pradesh. Now, these are areas, which are like cut-off areas. These are areas till Tooting you have good roads, and in Tooting there is a good presence of Indian Army, because beyond Tooting you have areas, you have small villages that dot the area, and through the small villages you will have to then start tracking on the foothills of the eastern Himalayas, and ultimately you get the line of actual control. But having said that, these are very rough terrain. You have the Siang river, which actually flows in from Tibet, from the Chinese part, and it flows through the upper Siang district, and this actually flows into Assam downstream, which becomes the Brahmaputra. So you have a large river flowing. In fact, what we have been told by our ground sources is that the area where this incident took place, from the nearest the road head, from the nearest road head, you also have the river barrier, and you only have some hanging bridges which you can actually cross on foot. So while focus has been given in terms of infrastructure development in Arunachal Pradesh, there are still areas which are very remote to reach those areas. These are areas which are you only have to track for hours. And again, to reach the forward areas where our Indian Army is protecting our borders, you have to actually track for days. So therefore, in such difficult terrain, these advanced light helicopters of the Indian Army are kind of a lifeline, because they can fly very easily in this kind of remote terrains, and they have been operating on a daily basis in these areas. Unfortunately, today this incident has taken place, second one within a month in Arunachal.
Yes, certainly a matter that will be of grave concern now. The second air crash this month in Arunachal. Ratndeep is going to stay with us. Air Commodore B.S. Sivach is now joining us on the phone line as well. Sir, the first question is with regards to the location of this crash. It's a remote area, this crash that has happened today, unfortunately.
Yeah, very sorry to hear about this tragic accident, and our heartfelt condolences. I hope some people at least have survived. We just pray to God. Now this terrain is very, very inhospitable, very challenging. The weather changes very, very rapidly, very fast. In 30 seconds, the weather can become cloudy, foggy, and it can clear. So that terrain is definitely very highly demanding, challenging, and poses a lot of, problems for flying. But our pilots are highly experienced. They are quite competent, skillful, knowledgeable. And normally we fly, a large number of sorties in those areas. And fortunately, no such occurrences have taken place in the recent past. Yes, there have been a couple of accidents, unfortunate accidents. But as I told you, the flying is very, very challenging in those areas, very inhospitable terrain. Weather changes are very, very rapid. And either, one mistake on the part of the pilot or the sudden deterioration in weather can compromise your safety and cause crash. So that is rather unfortunate. Though pilots are well trained, they have standard operating procedures, and they know what they are doing. But this is rather tragic. Second accident within just a sort of
Commodore Sivach, this is the second accident that is taking place this month alone in Arunachal Pradesh. The other one was close to Tawang, this near Upper Siang now. Can there be any other reasons apart from what we have discussed as far as weather changes occurring very quickly here? I understand that weather prediction techniques or analysis of weather before a takeoff is done very systematically and aggressively. Can you still go wrong in predicting what it might be like, even though I understand these are not very long sorties, sir, or are they?
No, they can be quite long sorties, and pilots are generally familiar with those areas where they are operating. But the weather, as I told you, it can change at very short notice. And sometime in the hills, you may get trapped in adverse weather conditions because you have crossed some pass. That time weather was okay, but you have taken another half an hour, 45 minutes, 30 minutes, like that. And by the time you return, it is covered. So that time, if you, trying to negotiate the weather, if you get into clouds or fog, then chances of, your disorientation and accident taking place are quite high. You see, this LH helicopter is quite modern, quite reliable, and it's, got all very modern instrumentation and navigation aids also. And the pilots are well trained, well qualified. Only weather can be the main cause, which I can foresee. Only after investigation we'll know exact cause, but in my opinion, in the hills, hills and adverse weather conditions are a very deadly combination. And it's very formidable challenge for any pilot. If you get caught, if you get trapped, then you are in deep trouble. And problem is that, basically helicopters, in case of adverse weather conditions, they can find a suitable place and land. But in the hill, to find a suitable place to land, it is very difficult because most of the terrain is undulating and there are high ground, low grounds. So you may not find any place to land also. So in that situation, it can become little, adverse from the point of flying and little, delay in decision making, or you don't get time to make a decision and things go wrong and you get caught and accident take place.
All right. Air Commodore B.S. Sivach joining us there, giving us an understanding into the possible reason for this crash, the unfortunate tragic crash of a helicopter, an Indian Army helicopter that we have seen in Upper Siang in Arunachal Pradesh. This comes within a month of another crash that took place near Tawang. 2 bodies, as per sources, have been recovered. There were 5 people on board that chopper. Let's move on now and turn our attention to the helicopter crash in Arunachal Pradesh. 5 people were on board the crashed army chopper. Our army sources are now saying that 2 bodies have been recovered from the crash site. An army helicopter was crashed in Arunachal Pradesh's Upper Siang district. According to reports, the advanced light helicopter crashed near Migging village. The site of the crash is not connected by any road, so a rescue team was sent to the location. As per sources, a second helicopter was sent as a measure of rescue. Now, this is the second chopper crash in Arunachal Pradesh in this month alone. Earlier this month, a pilot lost his life and several others were injured after a cheetah helicopter crashed near Tawang. Now, there are no motorable roads, as we were pointing out earlier, leading to this village except for a hanging bridge. So 2 helicopters have been sent to the crash site for rescue operations. The pictures that you can see on your television screens are from the crash site, and these pictures have been taken after the rescue team has reached there, and you can see the debris there of the chopper in fact sources are pointing out 2 bodies have been recovered. Ratnadeep is now joining us with more details. Ratnadeep, very distressing news coming in there. You already pointed out that your sources are pointing out that 2 bodies have been recovered, but there were 5 people on board. Take us through further details that you're picking up about the rescue operations.
That's right. This is a very unfortunate incident which has taken place. In fact, this is the second chopper crash in Arunachal Pradesh in this month. About a fortnight back, one cheetah helicopter crashed in Tawang sector, where one pilot lost his life, another pilot was critically injured. And in this crash, what we are picking up from our army sources is that there were 5 people on board. Now already 2 bodies have been recovered. The search operation was continuing in that deep jungle area with very rough terrain. There are tall hills all around, and it's already dark, so the operation might actually, in the dark, the search and rescue operation might actually get very difficult. However, what we know for sure that the Indian Army is yet to officially come out with a press release about the fate of these 5 people, but army sources have confirmed us that 2 bodies have been found out. Search and rescue operations are on. They are looking for survivors, about the whereabouts of the other 3 people. The visual that we see, the helicopter there crashed in that jungle. Its wreckage spread all around. This incident took place around 10:45 this morning, when this advanced light helicopter actually took off from Likhabali, which is in Assam. It is a very important point, very important base of Indian Army, from where the movement of men, machine, as well as equipments, rations takes place to the forward areas. And almost on a routine basis, on a daily basis, the advanced light helicopters are used in the Arunachal frontier. Although there have been crashes previously as well, Arunachal Pradesh is infamous for its chopper crashes, both civilian as well as military helicopters. This is a terrain where the weather condition keeps on changing almost every half an hour. There are tall mountains, the thick jungles, so flying in these areas are very difficult. But the Indian Air Force, as well as the Indian Army Aviation Corps pilots, are specially trained to fly in these areas, and the advanced light helicopters are like a lifeline to the forward post in those areas. Our troops who are manning the borders, essential supplies as well as emergency evacuations are done through these advanced light helicopters. Now, Indian Army is yet to give details in terms of what kind of sortie this was, but 5 people were on board, and this incident actually took place in Migging village, which is near Migging village, which is about 25 kilometers south of Tooting. It is the last administrative headquarters of the Upper Siang district, and not very far from the actual line of control or the border with China, where our Jawans are deployed, where these the ALH helicopters actually basically take essential supplies. So we'll have to wait for an official statement from the Indian Army in terms of the loss of life or the total people on board. But army sources confirming us that there were 5 people, 2 bodies have been recovered. There is a search and rescue operation which is on in the area. 3 helicopters were deployed very quickly. Indian Air Force came to help. Indian Air Force Mi-17 helicopters were pressed into service. The Dhruv helicopters were pressed into service, and 2 teams actually were able to locate the wreckage, and then they could track down the hill to that wreckage site with the help of the local villagers as well, because the local villagers first saw those fumes coming out in those visuals that we have put up on our screens. And after that, the rescue operation started, and unfortunately, 2 people have lost their lives. It is confirmed. We'll have to wait to hear from Indian Army about the fate of 3 other people and also their credentials, who they were actually, and where the sortie was flying to before it crashed 25 kilometers south of Tooting, not very far from the China border.
Ratnadeep getting us details on the chopper crash that took place in Arunachal Pradesh. Rescue efforts continue. His sources tell him that 2 bodies have been recovered. An army helicopter has crashed in Arunachal Pradesh Upper Siang district. According to reports, the advanced light helicopter crashed near the Migging village. The site of the crash is not connected by any road, so rescue teams have been sent to the location via choppers. Now, after the rescue teams reached, and these are the pictures that came in after the rescue efforts began in that area, in that particular village, which is not connected by any motorable road. You can see the wreckage of the helicopter there. As per sources, 2 bodies have been recovered. There were 5 people on the chopper. Earlier this month as well, there was a crash in Arunachal Pradesh. This was near Tawang, in which the pilot lost his life and several others were injured. This was a Cheetah helicopter that crashed near Tawang. Now, there is only a hanging bridge to this particular site where the crashes occurred today. So, as we were pointing out, 2 helicopters have been sent to the crash site for rescue operations. Local villagers were also said to be involved in the operations. Meanwhile, the Union Law Minister Kiran Rijiju had tweeted some time back saying that he'd received very disturbing news about the Indian Army's advanced light helicopter crash in Upper Siang district in Arunachal Pradesh. My deepest prayers is what he had written. Let me now go across to Ratnadeep for more details. Ratnadeep, any further information that you're picking up as the rescue teams have reached the site and are frantically looking for any survivors?
Well, what we are picking up from our ground sources is that civil authorities also giving us a sense that the chances of survival of those 5 people on board on this chopper which has crashed this morning around 10:45 a.m. 25 kilometers south of Tooting, which is the last administrative circle of the East Siang district of Arunachal Pradesh, not very far from the actual line of control, the border with China. The chances of survival is very less, given the fact, the type of, that's what the feedback that they have got from the first team of rescuers who actually identified the crash site and had reached there. 2 bodies have been recovered. That's what we can confirm. They're also looking for survivors. So it's not clear as of now what has happened to the other 3 people. So that needs to be clarified. There is no official statement as of now from the army. However, army sources have also confirmed us about the recovery of 2 bodies. So there were 5 people, but civil authorities that we spoke to clearly indicating that the chances of survival is very less, unfortunately. Although all efforts have been taken out for a search and rescue operation for any of the survivors. In fact, this is a very remote area. There's very rough terrain, very thick jungle. So now it's already dark. So at this moment, search operation in that jungle area is very difficult. However, Indian Air Force has joined in this operation. In fact, Mi-17 helicopters of the Indian Air Force were placed into service, along with 2 troop helicopters were used. All these 2 helicopters actually hovered around the wreckage area. 2 of the rescue parties actually were able to pinpoint the wreckage area, and then the rescue operation was launched. The locals really helped a lot. They were the first people to report that near Migging village, which is about 25 kilometers south of Tooting, there were fumes seen emerging from the thick jungles, and that's how the local villagers also responded. However, what is most significant here is that this is the second such accident, such crash of Indian Army chopper in Arunachal Pradesh. Only a fortnight back in Siang sector, one cheetah helicopter had crashed. The pilot had died, and the co-pilot had suffered serious injuries, very critical injuries. And after this, now this incident, remember this cheetah helicopters, the Dhruv helicopters, the ALH, the advanced light helicopters are the lifeline for the Indian Army in terms of urgent supply of rations, ammunition, small equipment, as well as emergency evacuation from the frontier areas all along the the border with China, because the frontier areas are areas where you don't have roads. You have to walk for days to reach the border posts, and these are kind of lifeline. Arunachal Pradesh is infamous for chopper crashes. Several civilian and military aircraft have crashed, choppers have crashed in Arunachal Pradesh. And now, this is the second incident in this month alone where an Indian Army chopper had once again crashed. Two people are dead, that's what we can confirm. The search operation for the other 3 continues.
Distressing news coming in. 2 bodies recovered. Search operations continue. It's almost dark now, and 3 other people who were on board, their whereabouts not known yet.
Let's move on to news coming in from Arunachal Pradesh, where 2 bodies have been recovered from a crash site after an army helicopter crashed in the state's Upper Siang district. 5 people were on board. According to reports, the advanced light helicopter crashed near the Migging village. The site of the crash was not connected by any road, which is why an aerial rescue team was sent to the location. This is the second helicopter crash in Arunachal Pradesh in October. Earlier this month, a pilot lost his life and several others were injured after a cheetah helicopter crashed near Tawang. Ratnadeep joining us with the very latest on that. Ratnadeep, 2 bodies recovered from the crash site. Any further updates?
Well, the update that we have now is that civil authorities have told us that the recovery of the 2 bodies has been confirmed. They're looking for more people. Already it's dark, so the operation in that area in such conditions won't be possible. Perhaps what we'll wait to hear from the Indian Army in terms of officially what happened to the other 3 people. But what we are gathering from civil authorities at ground zero is that the chances of survival in that terrain is very less. So unfortunately, this incident which took place this morning around 10:45, where basically this chopper, it crashed 25 kilometers south of Tooting. Tooting is the last administrative headquarters of Upper Siang district of Arunachal Pradesh, not very far from the actual line of control with China, the China border. In fact, just now as we speak, there is a new official press release which has come from the Indian Army, where they say that this advanced light helicopter which took off from Lekabali, which is in Assam, which is a very important base of Indian Army, particularly in terms of, this is one point from where the movement of men, machine, rations, as well as takes place to the forward areas, and often, almost on a daily basis, the advanced light helicopters are used. Now, Indian Army has confirmed that this incident has taken place in Migging village, which is south, 25 kilometers south of Tooting. A joint search and rescue operation of the Indian Army and Air Force has been launched. One Mi-17 helicopter and 2 other advanced light helicopters were sent to the area to look for the wreckage. 3 columns of Indian Army were sent out on board. Now, Indian Army has confirmed that 5 persons were on board, and during the search and rescue operation, now what Indian Army is telling us that the mortal remains of 4 of them have been found out till now. Right. So what Indian Army now confirms us that 4 bodies have been found. They're looking for the last person, whether he has survived or he has also become, he's also, they're looking for the last survivor at this moment. So this is the big news coming in. As we pointed out moments before we actually went on air, that the civil authorities were kind of indicating us that survival of the 5 people, the chances of survival is very less. Now, Indian Army actually has sent out this official statement saying that, they have recovered 4 bodies, mortal remains of 4 people have been found out. They're looking for the last person, hoping that he has survived. Now, Indian Army has also said that the cause of the crash at this stage is not known. Details are to be ascertained by a probe. But this is significant because this is the second such incident, second such crash of an Indian Army helicopter of the Army Aviation Corps in the Arunachal sector. Fortnight back in Siang sector, there was a crash where one of the pilots lost his life. The co-pilot was very critically injured, and now here, what we can confirm to our viewers, very unfortunately, out of the 5 people on board, 4 of them have died. Their mortal remains have been, found out. The search operation continues for the other person to look out for whether he has survived or to look out for his mortal remains.
Now we're getting some updates on the chopper crash in Arunachal Pradesh. 4 bodies have now been recovered. Search and rescue operations for the other person on board continues. Remember, there were 5 people on board this chopper that crashed in the upper Siang district of Arunachal Pradesh this morning at around 10:45 a.m. after which 2 rescue helicopters were sent in search of any survivors. 2 bodies were recovered earlier on. Now details coming in suggesting 4 bodies have been recovered in this really remote village in Arunachal Pradesh, which is not connected by motorable roads as well. Ratnadeep is now joining us with more details. Ratnadeep, even more distressing news coming in now. 4 bodies have been recovered and the search operations for the 5th person continue. What more details do we have at the moment, Ratnadeep? Because it will be, it's already dark now and it will be difficult to carry on the rescue operations, isn't it?
That's right. That's one of the challenges that the rescuers are facing at this moment at ground zero. Remember, 3 columns of Indian Army have been pressed into this rescue operation along with the help of the district authorities as well as the local villagers. The local villagers, remember, were the first to actually report about this crash when they saw those fumes coming out of the dense jungle amid the hills, very rough terrain in upper Siang district of Arunachal Pradesh. It is the actual site of the incident is Migging village, which is about 25 kilometers south of Tooting. Now, Tooting is the last administrative circle of upper Siang district of Arunachal Pradesh, and beyond that you have several villages dotting around, and then you have the actual line of control, which is in the eastern Himalaya ranges. Now, what is important here is that what we can confirm to our viewers, and Indian Army has put out an official statement minutes before we went on air, saying that unfortunately out of the 5 people who were on board on this helicopter when it crashed at 10:45 a.m. this morning, 4 of them have died. Their bodies have been recovered by the rescue party. The search and rescue operation for the 5th person continues. However, as you have pointed out, it's already dark, so the airborne operations had to be called off. Now, the on-foot ground search parties who have entered the dense jungle. They would try to continue their operation, but it's very difficult to continue this operation, perhaps at night. So we'll have to wait and hear for further updates from Indian Army. But what is significant here is that this is the second such incident, second crash of Indian Army Aviation Corps helicopter in Arunachal Pradesh. Only a fortnight back in Siang sector, we saw a crash in which one pilot died, another pilot suffered very critical injuries. That was a Cheetah helicopter, and now you have this ALH, Advanced Light Helicopters. Now the Cheetahs, the Groves, the ALH, these helicopters act like a lifeline for army supply as well as urgent evacuation from the frontier areas, because the frontier areas are areas which don't have motorable roads. You have to walk for days to reach the border outpost where the Indian Army is deployed. And in fact, this area where the incident has taken place, although it is not really very close to the China border, but still, this area from the nearest nearest road head, one has to walk about 2 hours, more than that. You have to track, and then you get the jungle, and then inside the jungle you have to actually track for hours to get to the crash site. So it's a very difficult search and rescue operation. Also to bring to context the fact that Arunachal Pradesh has been infamous for chopper crashes, both civil and military. In past, we have seen several incidents. Given the fact that in the frontier areas, in these areas, the weather is very unpredictable. It keeps on changing and very fast. And communication bottlenecks are there. So all these pilots who fly on Indian Air Force helicopters or Army Aviation Corps helicopters, the Army helicopters, they are trained to fly in these areas. But still, this is a very these are the areas where operating Army and the Indian Air Force basically operate in very challenging circumstances. So what really happened today, the Army statement clearly says that what caused the accident is not immediately known, and they will probe it. But what is important here, unfortunately, 5 people, out of 5 people, 4 of them have lost their lives. The search for the 5th person continues.
All right, Ratnadeep getting us those details there. Unfortunate news coming in of a chopper crash in Arunachal Pradesh that occurred this morning. 4 bodies have been recovered. Hello there, you're with NDTV. I'm Maha Siddiqui. The top story that we're tracking at the moment, 5 people were on board the chopper that crashed in Arunachal Pradesh, and now Army sources are pointing out that 4 bodies have been recovered from the crash site. This after 2 choppers were pressed into action with rescue teams that are on the ground at the moment, though now with it becoming dark, the rescue operations are facing some hurdles. However, the rescue teams remain in that area, which is a remote area in Arunachal Pradesh, one that is not accessible by motorable roads. An Army helicopter had crashed in Arunachal Pradesh this morning around 10:45 a.m. in Upper Siang district. According to reports, the advanced light helicopter crashed near Migging village. The site of the crash is not connected by any road. Meanwhile, the 2 choppers that were pressed into action as part of the rescue efforts are there continuing with the operations. 4 bodies have been recovered so far. Now, this is a matter of concern at the moment also because Arunachal Pradesh has seen 2 chopper crashes this month alone. Earlier this month, a pilot lost his life and several others were injured after a Cheetah helicopter crashed near Tawang. Meanwhile, what we can tell you at the moment is that the rescue efforts continue, and these pictures that you're seeing came in a short while back from the spot where the wreckage of the helicopter can be seen. Ratnadeep is now joining us with more details. Ratnadeep, what more information is the Army or your sources sharing at the moment about the rescue operations?
Well, what we are hearing from our sources in the Indian Army, in fact, the Indian Army has also put out this official press release where it says that there were 5 people on board in this advanced light helicopter, which crashed around 10:45 a.m. this morning, 25 kilometers south of Migging in Migging village. Now, the search and rescue operation which started later around noon using one Mi-17 helicopter of the Indian Air Force as well as two advanced light helicopters. 3 columns of Indian Army personnel were sent on foot. Now, one of the search parties reached there. They found the wreckage. And when they went there, at that point of time also the wreckage was burning. We have played out those visuals where the flames can be seen, and initially 2 bodies were recovered from the wreckage, and now Indian Army has confirmed that 4 dead bodies have been recovered from the wreckage. There were 5 people in total. The search and rescue operation officially continues for the 5th person. They're still hoping against hope for his survival. However, civil authorities who are also helping in the rescue operations has indicated that given the type of wreckage, the type of flames that were seen, and the terrain, the jungle, it's very the chances of survival is slim. Now, this is the second accident, second crash of an Indian Army helicopter in Arunachal Pradesh this month. Earlier in Tawan sector, there was another accident in which one pilot died. The co-pilot sustained very critical injuries. So this would be a reason of huge concern for the Indian Army, given the fact that advanced light helicopters are like a lifeline in terms of reaching out quickly to the far-flung forward posts, the forward areas along the frontier in Arunachal Pradesh, along the China border. These are areas which are very remote, inaccessible otherwise.
Okay.
Maybe take days to move there on foot. Initially, the Indian Army is saying that the initial cause is not known for this accident. So a probe will be needed in terms of finding out what is the cause of this accident. But the search operation for one of the persons whose whereabouts are not known is still continuing. However, it's already dark, so a search operation in such situation is very difficult in that terrain, in that kind of a desert jungle.
All right. Ratnadeep reporting on that distressing news coming in of 4 bodies being recovered as per sources after that chopper crash in Arunachal Pradesh this morning.